the regular meeting of the City Commission of Rio Grande City. It's Wednesday, August 27th. Let the record show that it is let the record show that it is 12 noon on the dot, and we're at Commission Chambers at beautiful downtown Rio Grande City at 101 South Washington. I'll call this meeting to order. I will do a quick invocation, and I want to ask Mayor Pro Tem Garza to lead us in a pledge of law. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Garza. On this agenda, ladies and gentlemen, I ask if you refer to number 1, which is general, and you go to letter B, in the roll call and finding of a quorum with Ms. Holly, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Villarreal.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Garza.
Here.
Commissioner Salinas is absent. Commissioner Ramirez.
Here.
Commissioner Jones.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you very much, ma'am. The next item on the agenda is letter C, public forum. Public forum is a section in this agenda where people in the community can come and speak to this commission about something on the agenda. They have 3 minutes to do so. I'm going to ask everybody who presents before public forum to please keep themselves to 3 minutes. And if you go slightly over, we might consider that, but don't go way over. Otherwise, Ms. Holly there is going to be making sure that we keep this meeting in a timely fashion. The City Commission is not obligated to respond, but your comments will be heard in their entirety under 3 minutes. And at this point, I do have some people that have signed up for public forum. The first person we have is Maria M. Requenes. She's 414 Mirasol Street. Ma'am, the floor is yours. You have 3 minutes. Go right ahead.
Thank you. Residents of the historical area of Rio Grande City. Mirasol Street, Water Street, Corpus Street, Flores Street, Garza Street, and Abasolo Street. These are people that live here. I also have 2 that signed that also have a business, but they live on top of the business, okay? These are not people that just come and have a business and go home. They live, they sleep here. A lot of them come from the older families, the first families here in Rio Grande City. Okay, I'm here because I am against the opening of this lounge right next door to my mother's house, which is from our fence line 3 feet away from the source. Now, if these people Ms. Mereda Cipeña were to move it to the building or upstairs, it would be 42 feet away from us. Now, according to the noise ordinance, it says 50 feet. But it also says the welfare and the safety of the residents. Okay, I'm here because this is a safety issue. Once you start serving alcoholic beverages, things get out of control. And I do not want my family to get hurt or any of the residents which live in this area. Like I mentioned before, I am a victim of a drunken driver that came out of tequilas. I know how it feels. I hope it hasn't happened to you all, but you could be a victim yourself of a drunken driver. This is a safety issue, and please keep in mind, would you like a lounge to be open next door to your mother's house or to your house? Put yourself in our situation, and that's reality. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very good. That was Maria Requenes. The second person I have to discuss on this item is Priscilla Ann Requenes, and she has the same address, 414 East Mirasol. Ms. Requenes, you have 3 minutes to discuss your issue. Please keep it in the timely fashion of the meeting. Thank you.
Yes, I do reside with my grandmother next door to them, and my concern is the safety. Okay, how can I say it? It may not be right now. Things are not happening as right now, like the noise. It's not happening right now, but it eventually will, and it's going to happen. Now, if something like this were to happen, I know that they want to use Main Street to park cars, but once the bar gets full, you use the back streets. Where's this Mirasoles Street? We have light posts. There's a lot of things that can happen. I know for a fact with tequilas, they walk out with their beers. I've seen it. And they get into their vehicles. Who stops them? Cops are busy all over the place. My concern is what happens if one of their inebriated, clients runs into a pole, or into a building, or into another car, or if there's an overflow of all these people, what's going to prevent them from vandalizing the residential area, the homes, vehicles? Does anybody I hope y'all have taken this into consideration. And all the other people. There's 45 people who are not here today to speak, but I think that their signatures count, and there are letters written. I don't know if they've been read, but they have been addressed concerning the situation. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Appreciate it. The third person we have on our public forum is Victor Barrera, and he resides at 506 East Main Street. Mr. Barrera tiene 3 minutos para discutir su tema.
Buenas tardes.
Entre el tiempo que se permite para discutir lo que tengan que discutir.
Claro que sí, muy buenas tardes. ¿Me permiten hablar español?
Claro.
Muy buenas tardes, señores. Vengo más que toda la situación representante a la situación del permiso. Nosotros simple y sencillamente hemos cumplido con las reglas, con los requisitos, hemos tratado de tener todo. Solamente lo único que queremos nosotros es una respuesta. Nosotros hay algo, nos están acusando, no es acusar, no quiero decir la palabra que sea correcta, pero por algo que todavía no ha pasado, que no ha cuidado. Es un tipo de negocio que es el tipo de negocio que yo sé hacer o que yo conozco. Simple y sencillamente queremos una respuesta. Tenemos varias reuniones que hemos venido, que hemos tenido. Somos unas personas que tratamos de ser consideradas en todos los aspectos y simple y sencillamente queremos trabajar. Eso es todo de mi parte.
Muchísimas gracias. Ms. Holly, anybody else in the public forum?
No, sir.
Very well. Therefore, we continue this agenda, and I ask that you go to number 1, Commissioners, Mayor Pro Tem, and you look at B, and it's a departmental report. For that, I will address our Deputy City Manager, Elisa Diaz, who will walk us through some departments. Ms. Diaz, some information.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, our departments are working diligently in the operation of the city. We do want to highlight certain departments, and that would be the police department, the planning, which would include the code enforcement and animal control. And also we have a report from our city engineer, Delta Riviera. Noah, would you like to present the report?
Hello. I just wanted to give you all a little bit of a traffic report with the school at the beginning of the year. We noticed a little bit of traffic on Fairground and Eisenhower, and in the early mornings of the school day. Monday was the worst, I think, of traffic. It kind of slowed down after that. It tapered down. The traffic on Highway 35 class was a lot less than it used to be based on the high school being where it is now. So the patrols are out there in the mornings and the afternoons. We're laying out the mid-graveyard shifts a little bit further out just in case we need anything, regarding any accidents or traffic. So that's what we got with the traffic in the school. I'm sorry?
Any accidents reported?
Nothing major as of yet. The other thing we have coming up is National Night Out. That's October 7th, and we have a cigar gas on Roberts. So we're actually working on giving businesses and everybody that's participated in National Night Out with us and made it a success. They're getting out there and so we can make it a bigger event than last year. So that's what we're working on for the near future.
Questions? The traffic, I will agree with you, has substantially subsided along the corridors of between, let's say, HEB and Burger King. It's a huge difference. Incredible, like how much of a difference it is. I mean, I have a business there, and once upon a time, after 3 o'clock, you couldn't turn eastbound. It was near impossible, and it was very difficult. And switching to the school, it didn't dawn on me, but it's making a huge impact on our traffic situation.
Yes, it is, and we're still having to patrol out there maybe for this week, next week, and if there's anything else that comes up, we'll take it on a daily basis. But we have extra people coming out for this.
Hey Chief, just a real quick 2-minute update on National Guard. Everybody's asking, where are they? I have not seen them.
I haven't seen them either. I know that they're around, but they're doing their own thing aside of what we're doing, and they're not bothering anybody. big trucks on top of that. So
I do want to compliment the A Chief, and I don't know if Chief Reyes is here as our emergency manager, Ms. Bea. Everybody's cooperated to try to accommodate them as much as we can, and I think it's having a very positive impact because I understand that there's maybe anywhere between 40 and 50 right now that are in town, and I know that because I saw some visitors from out of town, and they indicated to me they had seen groups, but they're very subtle, and let's hope it stays that way. Any questions for the A Chief?
In adding to the traffic noise, I've been taking the Eisenhower route from the old high school to the new high school, and I know it backs up real bad in the morning and in the afternoon going back. I think, Elisa, that I know it was brought up in the past as a possible traffic light on Eisenhower and 755, and I think it's something that we need to look into again. And I don't know where that's at. I know that it's in the back burner somewhere, but it was brought up before, and I think the last we heard was that they were going to wait for school to start so they could do a traffic count. And I think that school started already, and we need to get on TxDOT to do that traffic.
That's a very good point, Mayor Pro Tem. That's it. I want to instruct Elisa under the guidance of the City Commission to install a light right where Eisenhower meets 755, or I think it's near Mario Guillen's.
Well, right at the country store.
I'm trying to give this to people a landmark. The first discussion for that was 4 years ago with Mario Jorge, who was here at the time as the district director. And we had submitted a letter to him 4 years ago, but since then he's moved on to the San Antonio area, and Periodico is there now. So Ms. Bea, if you will kindly draft a letter indicating the importance of that number, and they have to do a traffic count or a study, if they can please expedite that so the process can get started again. But we had foreseen that. Working with TxDOT sometimes is not the easiest of circumstances, so let's push that along, and let's get a letter to them, please.
Yeah, I did talk to the leader, so she's in touch with several TxDOT projects that did come up, sir. He didn't mention he needed a letter, but we'll certainly go ahead and send another one.
Right, that's what Mario Jorge told us last time too, and the problem is now is there's no documented paper trail, so now they make a paper trail and make sure that we follow up every 60 days to see where we can expedite that process.
Yes, sir, we touched on that one, and also now that we have the Taco Bell, also to start on that study also.
There's also a situation that we talked about, Commissioners, and I'm going to try to do real quickly. We had a median between the area where it's Taco Bell and across the street where the HEB in that area. There was a proposed median that was discussed also with Mario Jorge, and now we did discuss it with Rio Grande, but that was like his first week in office. I think it's a good idea that we also put that in writing because it's becoming a very, it's already heavily congested, thankfully, but we have to get on top of it to make sure that the traffic flow there doesn't cause any additional accidents, because it's a lot of movement there now, lots and lots of movement.
The other department I wanted to try is a planning department in relation to the meter reading and the magnets that were encountered at some of the meters and the other areas of this department.
Mayor, Commissioners, the planning department, code enforcement officers, they started on the meter reading together with the water department meter readers, and obviously it's the first time they do that. And on their way, they found some, issues like meters tampered with, stealing of water. We had at least 5 cases documented. We're doing police reports. Obviously, I cannot disclose the information yet, but certainly it's a learning experience. So far, so good. It's flowing. They still need to. Next month, they're going to be doing the ratings with the water department again. So hopefully, in a couple months, they should be good to go by themselves.
Are we going to be prosecuting the people that we catch stealing water, because they're stealing water basically, they're stealing a service? Are we going to prosecute them?
We still need to get together with our city attorneys.
Further investigation.
At this point, like I said, they're under investigation, so it's a crime.
Let the public know that we are going to be cracking down on anything that's being done to our meters in the form of the most regrettable one, and the most, I guess, the one that sticks out is they were putting magnets to counteract the movement of the meter. We have a couple of magnets back there, and I don't want to pull them out because I was told that they get close to any of our devices, they're very strong magnets. So one of them is only about so big, but I didn't even know they'd be magnets that powerful. I mean, when we were kids, we played with them, but they're the size of pencil erasers.
It's a situation that the other cities are familiar with, and they go from fines to imprisonment to, just disconnecting services permanently for that particular customer until, they comply with all the pass, whatever, they make a balance of what they should have paid in those months, if not years, that they didn't pay water. But certainly I'm in contact with other municipalities as to how they handle these type of situations.
I do want to thank Lisa Reyes because this was her brainchild to combine departments and put code enforcement in charge of meter reading to give it a greater continuity of being able to know what's going on in our water system, and it's already paid dividends. So I do want to thank you, Lisa, for that direction you gave us. It was a well-intentioned project, and I think it's going to work out well.
Now you're going to have somebody with a badge that is going to be reading your water meter. So it's going to be on the lookout for other situations like, illegal dumping, illegal construction, high weights and grass. And certainly it's an ongoing experience that the town will look nice.
The rest of Mr. Last report is in your package. In the essence of time, if you have any questions, Mr. Last is here. If not, we can continue with the report from our city engineer.
Afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners. Basically, we're working on 3 projects right now for the city of Rio Grande. These projects that were assigned to us here in the last 4 to 5 weeks. We'll begin with the VFW force main. As you know, there's a project to replace the existing 16 force main from the VFW lift station that runs back to the west, that's added into the system there in front of Pine Street, at the intersection of Pine and 83.
I don't know where Pine Street is, but for people that don't know, Pine Waterburger, no?
Where the new Taco Bell is, and the Chevy, the street that cuts to the north. The intersection now we're discussing about the possible another traffic signal. At any rate, we're looking to upgrade the existing 6-inch force main to 10-inch in order to allow for growth and for growth that is caught up to the 6-inch force main. Right now it's overloaded. The VFW lift station is going to be rehabbed, there's new pumps being put in, and the 6-inch force main just doesn't cut it. We're working on rerouting that 10-inch, we're replacing that 6-inch. What we got proposed is to do a 2-step construction. Ultimately, what we want to do is run a 10-inch force main from the lift station all the way to the intersection of Mesquite Avenue and Redwood. That's where there's an existing 12-inch gravity line that goes directly to the sewer plant.
Tell us where Mesquite is. Give us a landmark where that is.
It's right behind the Paytas.
Okay. So
Right behind the Paytas.
It's easier that way.
So right there, I guess it's a point about 400 feet south of 83 on Redwood. There's an existing 12-inch gravity line. It's a deep line that runs straight to the sewer plant. We want to treat the VFW lift station in essence like a master lift station there because it collects everything east of the arroyo, and it's a substantial amount. Could eventually grow into the neighborhood of 2.5 to 3 MGD or million gallons a day. So it's a major lift station. That's all we're requiring. A larger force main, a 10-inch will handle all of that and plus some. The proposed route that I have laid out is because the area along 83 is very congested, is to take the lift station or the force main north to the railroad track right away, bring it east along the railroad track right away across the arroyo, and then tie in along 83. Phase 1 of this project is to get us from the arroyo to that point at Mesquite Avenue and Redwood. That'll provide some relief to the existing pumps. It'll shorten the length of 6-inch line currently in use and relieve the pressure demand on the pumps where they can pump a little bit more efficiently until we can upgrade the pumps and then complete the remainder of the force main. Phase 2 would be to connect from there all the way back to the lift station. And that entails doing a crossing of the arroyo. What I'm proposing to do is to put in some pylons with double spacing so that we can cross the force main immediately. And in the future, there's also the issue of water demand on that side of the arroyo. Right now, we're only feeding through an 8-inch line to that part, and at some points in the day, water pressure is low and water demand is high. So in trying to kill two birds with one stone, the crossing will be sized so we can put in a second casing alongside the sports bank casing and cross a larger water line back to the east. The big issue is having the crossings of the oil. Right now everything goes underground. I think we do it aerially. It'll be more efficient and cheaper.
That's
Casing everything across.
Gilbert, I know that we were anticipating the fact that the school district is connected to the same service line.
Yes, sir.
It's been in operation now, or the school's been, well, maybe I should ask Elisa, for 2 days. Have we noticed any problems in the last 2 days?
The crew at the water department has not been dispatched to the lift station, sir. Right before school started, Mr. Periodico, the foreman, they did an enlargement of the 10-inch line. It kind of helped some of these problems at the beginning. But eventually, as it continues growing and further development is happening there, and the school gets more populated, this is why the project that Gilbert's working on. But we have not had any right now issues with the lift station.
We have checked with Enrique, Commissioner. We checked yesterday, of course, yesterday was just the first day of school. But at the end of the day, he said the lift station is running at capacity. Right now, the issue they're having is that the lift station behind the Chevy is having some problems. The suction line, they've developed some pinholes, and so it's sucking air and it loses prime. And that was causing a bit of a backup, but it was nothing that they couldn't handle, at least until yesterday afternoon. I haven't heard anything any different today. So it's handling it, but we know that we need to take care of the problem, and already, that's why we're working on this. We've got the topographical survey already been completed. We just received plans for the 755 realignment last week, so we can take that into account in laying in the force main, so we don't wind up having to replace it 6 months from now, or at least a portion of it. We're taking all that into account. We've got it under design. We're working on plans and profile right now, so we should have that finished next week. Bring it back to the city and the building department for review, and then maybe go out for bid for that first half, while we work on the array crossing and everything else for the second half. Okay?
There's something to do.
Gilbert's also working on the grading and planning for the utility building.
Utility building, we picked up topo there. We're working on layout. I know the staff is working on the actual building design with the designer, so we can put that. We're working on the site plan. That's in progress, and we should have something on that relatively quickly. I know y'all need to move quickly on that. It's just a matter of them finishing up what they want inside the building. The outside stuff is fairly simple. We'd like to leave it in a position to where in the future you can add maybe a drive-through lane so people can drive through and make their payments rather than have to pull up and walk in. We discussed it with Ms. Bayas. Trying to plan for the future and situate it where it's the most usable for the longest time. That's it works also. We've got a third project with a west side water line loop from the plant north to our distribution line on the north side of town. We haven't done much except start looking at parcels and seeing what the best route might be and where the closest connection point would be to a good sized line, either 10 or 12, which right now looks to be at the high school site. So we're working that out. These other two projects, because of the time constraints, took priority. We're spending more.
And that's to loop the system.
To loop our system. So right now, in essence, what we're doing is you're pumping from the new plant back east and then back around all the way to the west. And there's that gap that if we could close the loop, that would help relieve some of our pressure problems at the north tower and in that area.
It's when we were constructing the new water treatment plant, we went in and left the valve ready in anticipation, that we would be moving on this loop, and it's going to be coming right directly out of the new water treatment.
I'll tell you just real quickly how incredible and how important water is. Supply water, and I know sewer as well, but water, you read the paper and it seems like every week there's a story about a community that having to take on the challenges of additional water capacity. So the fact that the commission saw the need and saw the benefit, 5 years ago to build a water plant now is showing its effects because we have enough supply now. It's about routing the water correctly and fixing some of our lines, but it's definitely not about capacity. So it's a good thing that our water system has reached that plateau.
It's a distribution.
Yeah, all distribution. So anything else, Mr.
Nothing else, Mayor? Any questions? Thank you.
to that? That was an economic development project. You will see here, and I had an answer for you, very well, that was under department, I'm sorry, that was department. Any other departments anybody wants to mention? Departments are other public works. We have fire department, we have municipal court, parks and rec, this is a department. Also, I do want to really thank the public for their very warm support of our trails. I drove by the other day and there was like 12 or 14 cars, and it was probably about 106 degrees, but they were out there. And apparently people are taking to the trails very well, so I think it's going to be something for the future. So the parks program, I think, is coming along quite well. Anything else on anything, gentlemen? Okay. If nothing else, we continue this agenda and we move to, yes, consent agenda, and we have two items, travel requests and minutes, and we can take them together unless somebody wants to pull them, take them individually. What's the wishes of the commission? You want to take them both together? Is that a motion? Mayor Pro Tem makes a motion that we take A and B, approval of travel requests and approval of minutes of previous meeting together. Do I have a second to that motion? Second by Commissioner Ramirez. Any further discussion? If none, I'll entertain a vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Under 3, planning, letter A, consider request by Mireda C. Peña for wine and beer retailer's license. Proposed business located at 506 East Main Street, Suite E. Ms. Diaz, can you give us an update and see what we're going to do with that?
Yes, sir. If you notice on the memorandum to you and commissioners, you'll see the different meetings that have occurred with this item. Also, there was a public hearing on August the 11th at 6 o'clock p.m. Where everyone present had the opportunity to voice, their opinion and their concerns. Having had that public hearing, the planning and zoning met on the 25th and has approved the request for the wine and beer retail permit. And that is the recommendation to council. So it's gone through a process, had several things to planning and zoning, one public hearing, and throughout the process, planning and zoning is approving the permit, correct? They approved it yesterday. Mr. Bernardo, do you want to add some comments to this?
No, they met on Monday at 6 p.m. and they unanimously reapproved the license.
Very well, Ms. Jackie, but I'm going to make one word. I saw your current name on the document regarding the petition, so.
Yes, that's correct.
So there might be a little bit of a situation right now.
No, absolutely not, Your Honor. I mean, Mayor, I am not going to do that. As you know.
Okay,
I'm only the city attorney. But with that said, Mayor, I think it's important that yourself and the commission be well aware that there is a nuisance violation under a nuisance ordinance, Your Honor, and Mayor, and there has been a petition on file that was expressed to planning and zoning. Planning and zoning said that they were going to let code enforcement, the State Department, handle it because that is the process. Code enforcement has attempted to work with these applicants because you can have noise near the residence as long as it's up to 10 p.m. If you look at the application itself, it's for late hours, and the applicants have been very honest that it will go up to 2 a.m. You also have the resident that's already filed a petition with the city, which would be a clear violation of noise ordinance. Code enforcement in the past has worked with other applicants and has come to agreements to try and resolve these issues because it's not to the city's benefit that any ordinance be violated. We don't want our ordinances violated. And in the past, we've always had applicants that have worked with us and tried to do something comparable, whether that's add improvements to the property to reduce the noise, or simply put to reduce the hours so that they're not so late and on violation of our noise ordinance. This has not been done. The efforts that code enforcement has made with these applicants have failed completely. They have refused in any way to work with code enforcement to reduce the hours so that it's not so late, so that We abide by our noise ordinance. They have refused to do any improvements. It's gonna be an open patio. And planning and zoning said that that was not their concern, because they're planning and zoning, that would be the city's concern. So on behalf of the city, I have to say here that this would be in violation of our noise ordinance, a clear violation. You already have a petition on file from the resident, and you have the applicants failing in every way to come to any resolution with our code enforcement department on this issue. And in the past, we've always come to resolution on these types of things.
Let me say one thing. The item we have here proposed is for a, let me read it again, beer and retailer's license for proposed business located 506 East Main. Makes no mention of a noise ordinance. If a noise ordinance is a problem, we need a violation of some sort so we can address that possibility. But we're talking about hypotheticals, and the hypothetical in this situation doesn't apply as the item on this agenda. This item on the agenda is very specific to a beer and retailer's license for proposed location. You know, I'm trying to understand your train of thought, but noise ordinance is something different. If there's a violation, and I've talked to the commission at length about noise in our downtown, and I've talked to Elisa, and we're going to start discussing the process of coming up with a noise ordinance that's perhaps more in keeping with our downtown that's growing. Because if this is a situation that we're going to deal with noise, we better address it now rather than later. And I've had that discussion with several of the commissioners. If noise is an issue, we have to be proactive and come up with an ordinance that more, I guess, more easily and with more detail deals with noise and how it applies to a downtown. However, if you read the item on our agenda, it's very clear what it is. It's a license for a proposed business located at 506 East Main Street. And I appreciate your words, but I don't want to mix a noise ordinance with what we have here. This is very simply.
The only thing is that the application that you have before you also says retail dealers on premises late hour license, which would be an violation of the ordinance. And that is on the application before you, Mayor. And that's the only concern I have.
I appreciate that. I want to make it real clear.
Because we have never violated any law.
And we're not violating. I think it's subject to interpretation, but we've gone through this before. We have several locations in that area as well. If that's the case, every other location that we have allowed would be in violation of our ordinance, because you have one just not even half a block down. So if you want to use that logic, then probably anything downtown would violate our ordinance to some extent. That's why I think that us going to the process of start adopting a noise ordinance that's more in keeping, that's measurable through the techniques used today, because what they do, there's decibel readers that read noise in downtowns or any area, and I know that's how they do it in a lot of other areas, that they have these very prolific night environments, but they literally go and they measure noise and make sure that one area is not overtaking the other area, because you have areas like 17th Street and McAllen that have them, just a wall separates them. So I know they have a noise ordinance also, but I do want to emphasize to the commission that the next ordinance that we perhaps will see will be a noise ordinance. So I have at least already doing some research on that, and I'm going to try to have something hopefully by next meeting.
And also, this business cannot open until they do meet every requirement to have occupancy. I know that there have also been conversations with Mr. Milan about constructing an enclosed area to maybe possibly limit that noise, but I don't know how far those conversations have gone to actually providing a plan. So
at this point, I think we've had a lot of discussion with planning and zoning. I think we've had ample public discussion also, and I'm going to encourage the commission to come up with a resolution for the applicants and see what we decide to do with this. Does anybody have?
I have a question. If they're lacking a occupancy permit,
yeah, they cannot start serving anything. They cannot invite any public to be there until there is an occupancy permit.
okay.
Which is a different process, isn't it?
And going back to the noise ordinance, I believe we have a noise ordinance already that I know that you cannot enforce till you know what the noise is before you can take action. In saying that, what is the action city if that occurs?
If we,
Because I know, I've been told that it hasn't been violated yet, so therefore, what are we judging on this decision on? But let's suppose that it is violated on the first day, then what is the city going to do? If that ordinance is violated?
if on that first day, and there is a complaint, we would actually have PD2 close, stop the music. And then we would actually submit it to the authority that would do the decibel reading. And they do come in at different times to determine if it is in the violation of that ordinance, the decibel reading of the noise. If it is found to be in that violation, then we work with the business to lessen the decibel reading. And it could be anywhere from some baffles like the Pilas did, or to possibly enclosing the area. It could run either way.
You know what, this is a sign of growth in this situation that we have in a lot of downtowns, a lot of areas that have to deal with noise. That's what I was saying when I saw this, and I think I was talking to Commissioner Ramirez at that point. I said, what I see here is just my humble opinion, is a problem or an ordinance having to do with noise that's not clear enough. Because you're right, how do you measure it? Nowadays, there's ways to measure it. There's apparatuses you can buy that aren't that expensive that measure the decibel readings of noise. But I don't think that's included because the noise ordinance, when it was adopted, I don't think that technology was something that was very, very affordable, and it wasn't well known. Now it's extremely well known, and you go to 6th Street in Austin, there's a lot of environments and they all have noise ordinances, and if you go there, one business doesn't drown out the other, and that's how they do it. They gauge it themselves. So I think we're going to have to start policing ourselves as a community and come up with a noise ordinance that's very specific, that we monitor, that we'll get somebody from code enforcement to go on a random weekend and start measuring and start either giving warnings or citations. And when I say citations, I mean substantial citations. We want people to comply. We're going to try to find the best balance, but I say at this point, the item under consideration is a beer license, I'm going to read this again, a wine and beer retailer's license, and the noise ordinance. I'm ready to put in the agenda if the commission so desires, so we can discuss it at the next meeting, and we can start having a resolution for a noise ordinance that needs to be applied, I believe, at this point. This is what I see in all this. We have a problem with noise, perhaps in the future, and we need to deal with it now. That way it doesn't become something that we have to meet here again and have another circumstance for the next business, because I promise you're going to have another business line to open up in the near future. That seems to be the trend.
And what has the city proposed to the business as far as making adjustments to the business itself to try and satisfy the city and satisfy the citizens that live around the area? What has the city proposed for them to do?
Actually, it came from them. They're the ones who suggested about possibly enclosing the area. ¿Es así cierto, Mr. Barrera, que a lo mejor piensan encerrarlo si acaso llega a ser un problema?
No, realmente no todo de un momento.
De un momento no podemos, o sea,
no se puede económicamente. Lo que acordamos la vez pasada era poner una barda alta, eso sí, ¿verdad? Con el permiso de la ciudad, lógico, ¿verdad? Pero nosotros no hemos querido hacer ningún movimiento hasta no tener, o sea, una base segura, o sea, de que qué tal si no se va a hacer y nosotros estamos, ¿verdad?, haciendo los movimientos y igual se va a quedar allí. No hemos querido mover realmente nada. Hasta ahorita sí quisiéramos cerrar más adelante, pero de momento no.
Ahorita no tengo tiempo, no hay un tiempo para decir en un mes, 2 meses no tengo, depende cómo el negocio da. La idea sí es cerrar más adelante, pero no quiero decir ni afirmar algo porque no económicamente no tengo los
I don't want to start a conversation in public. It's just absolutely with us to discuss it.
Yeah.
Because then we'll turn to the public meeting that happened on Monday. And this is for the commission to decide. I need some guidance from the commission regarding this in some direction. Like again, I fully expect to have another business in the near future come and want to open up in very similar circumstances. That seems to be the theme in downtown. It's not just tequilas, we have Rio Brewing Company, we have Rio Billiards. Now we have this other location. So that seems to be the theme that is going to be in our downtown, and that's why I'm very willing and I'm prepared to start working on a noise ordinance very quickly so we can start.
Obviously, we don't have the occupancy permit ready. They have proposed improvements to the property. In getting all that prepared for our next meeting, can we have something
A noise ordinance?
for a noise ordinance in
Yes.
place?
What's the
It's a first
situation?
reading.
My main concern here is basically parking in Mirasol.
That also.
That's
Has that
my-
been
that's
discussed
my-
with the owner?
Well, that's parking in all downtown.
That's basically my main concern is the parking in the alleys, you know. Are they gonna, is that gonna be abused, you know, or they're gonna be using their property and then making sure that if any vehicles out of their property, it's not a parking zone there, it's just a,
Well, anybody,
Doesn't have any shoulders.
they have any shoulders for
in
anybody.
downtown, anybody can park off street, and that belongs to TxDOT and belongs to us, and we've encouraged off-street parking. Until about 6 years ago, City Hall didn't have parking. That's a common circumstance in downtowns like this where they were planned in 1848, so there was no such thing as where you're gonna park the car. It was where you're gonna park your horse and buggy. And that's the circumstance we're dealing with now. We proposed in the past an EDC to build parking lots. That was a standing item 3 years ago that was taken off, and now it seems like, I guess we're being ahead of our thought process, but I look at some of the older EDC members, you remember we had a standing item for parking lot, we just, you know, it's expensive and we thought it was something that can wait, and maybe that's something that can't wait anymore either. I mean, we had to build a parking lot here right across behind City Hall. We angled parked, increased parking by 30%. You know, obviously there is a need for parking in downtown, and we as a city need to find solutions to that, because all businesses in downtown suffer from that. Every single one, even the gas company across the street suffers from that too, and they've been there, you know, 30 years. So those are our challenges. It's really not the challenge of the business owner per se, because they don't have options. I mean, you go across the street to Terraza, you go to Texas Cafe, all of them have limited parking because they're downtown so old. So those are challenges that we should have as a city to try to, and if we want to prioritize it in our EDC to build parking lots, it's as simple as that. You set aside money and you start looking to build parking lots, because we need parking lots. I agree with you.
It's just a matter of it being, you know, of it being open late at night, that's my worry. If you start parking on Mirasoles and you see 20, 25 vehicles parked there and it's dark, you know, something's gonna happen.
Well, that's for them to call, anybody call the PD and let them know that there's a danger issue there. And we can also make an ordinance that prohibits parking in Mirasoles. I mean, I would say there's things that we can do because the streets belong to us. So we do an ordinance that prohibits, but then you probably have to identify every owner there and give them so many spaces also that belongs to them. But you can prohibit parking in downtown, but keep in mind that that applies for us also, because some of our policemen is
Yeah,
park.
so do the residents, they park there too.
But we can give, I've seen ordinances where they're customized, where it gives the actual landowner, you know, 2 spaces or 60 feet or something like that along the road, but it prohibits all the vehicles, or you can give them a special permit tag that says, you know, you have permission there. We all know who lives there, so if it becomes a question that somebody abuses that, you know, something that we can address. So all these issues that are happening are downtown issues, but let me tell you something also, and I'm going to take all sides here. I'm a businessman also. Back in the early 90s when we were relocating in 1993, there was a petition similar to this that wanted to prohibit my business from putting a propane store there. And at that point, we had been in business for 30 years. And they said, oh, you can't put propane there, it blows up. Well, so does gasoline. And that's why a community has to look beyond the parameters of what is dangerous and try to make it as friendly to a community as possible. Because if you think about it, gasoline stations sell a combustible fuel that is very, very explosive. But that's why the state comes in and we come in and we do our due diligence to make sure it's safe as possible. Now, if I go back to 1993, I was a businessman and they were trying to prohibit my business, and I employ 10 10, 12 people, and it gets really difficult because we encourage businesses in town, in our community, because that is the backbone of who we are as a community. They create jobs, they create an environment, they create sales tax, they create a property tax, and they're our concern also. That's where it becomes a challenge for this commission to think about parking, to think about noise, to do the ordinances, because once upon a time with water, we had the same situation. And we have to look way ahead of time and plan, and I think this is the perfect example of how we have to start planning today to be ready to go, let's say in 12, 14 months, to have parking, to have a noise ordinance that's enforceable by us, and that gives people an opportunity, if they hear too much noise, hey, call the PD because they're too noisy, and we can measure that. So the item we have right now, and I keep on going back to that because it's very, very single-sided, and I know what it's like to be a business person, and I think that's a concern of Mr. Valera here, that he knows that he's a business and he's trying to make a living. I mean, if you have COD Auto Parts that's right down the street, or you have, Rio Brewing Company, they're all trying to make some money for the community themselves. And I really think that the commission has to give direction on this at this point. I think we've seen it enough, we've had enough public hearings, and I really needed some direction from the commission. I don't want to just pass on it and wait 30 more days, because they bought a very expensive piece of real estate. And the people that live here have lived here a very long time ago, and it's very near and dear to them. But I think it's our challenge as a city to find the balance that they need. If noise is an issue, let's address the noise. If parking is an issue, let's address the parking. Because those are concerns that we've done before. We had them here in City Hall also. We had, where do they park? If you think back in the old days, they used to park here on the side, along the road. There was no parking lot back there. It was just
Well, that was my question. Do we go on with this agenda item and then deal with the noise problem and the parking problem and the traffic later, or or do we base ourselves on what the law allows us to do as far as our charter, our city ordinances, and our...
I'm going to encourage us to take action and give these people direction, the business owners, and really that puts our feet to the fire, and we should have, I want to say in 6 months, I think maybe 3 months at the most, we'll have a noise ordinance. And the parking lot issue, we're still working our EDC budget, so that's a good thing to have, and say, okay, let's assign money from EDC to build a parking lot, because all you have to do is buy that property and build a parking lot, but don't fool yourself, it's about $175,000 investment. But if that's what's needed, that's what's needed. And if we have to come up with an ordinance, we had, I think, Madeleine that talked about reducing the speed, and right now we're working on parameters to make sure that the ordinance is specific to very narrow roads, like Mirasoles. Because Mirasoles is, I don't know, 100 years old maybe, I don't know how old it is, but the newer streets that have been constructed since then are standard size and allow for traffic, and those don't allow for the same kind of traffic. So if, from my standpoint, I think we take action in some way, but I need the commission to give me direction so we can continue. And if noise is an issue, let's deal with it sooner rather than later. And if parking is an issue, let's deal with it sooner rather than later, because we're going to have another similar circumstance in the near future.
There's one right next door at the old Catfish Inn.
That's what I'm saying. It's going to happen again. So, Catfish Inn. I remember Catfish Inn. I like Catfish Inn. Anyway, that's what are the wishes in the commission on this? Let's give some direction. Let's move on. And if we have to come up with ordinances, like I say, I'm very confident that we've done it before. We can turn around an ordinance in 3 months. You have first reading, second reading, and within 3 months you'll have a noise ordinance, and we can buy the equipment. And we have now the code enforcement department that's really, really geared for things like this. So,
in saying that, I have another question. Let's say we issue out the permit, or we allow the business to continue, and then we come up with the new ordinances. Will the new business be under grandfather law?
Yes, because they were prior to the ordinance.
well, I will tell you that
The permit was, it'd be at the time of occupancy permit, which is.
noise is a violation. It's a violation.
It's a violation.
But if you're gonna change your noise ordinance, see, right now, you have an applicant you have a noise ordinance today that the city enforces. You have an applicant today that's applying for this. If they get their certificate of occupancy and open based on
Jackie,
this.
if we change speed limits on roads, if Texas does it all the time, if it used to be 50 miles and they move it 60 miles all the way around, and let's say it reduce the speed, which they've done before, it's not grandfathered, it just becomes a law.
Ordinances are a little different areas.
An ordinance is
Like
a law.
the butane issue that you were grandfathered, it's a little different.
No, we weren't grandfathered, we had to reapply, so that's what I'm saying, that there was a movement to try to stop us, but we had conformed with everything. See, there's something called Railroad Commission, yes, like just like there's a TABC, and they're hardcore. Railroad Commission, that's what community propane operations open up, because they're very strict. I mean, our lines run down like 7-8 feet, I mean, just something incredible. But
But they don't have their certificate of occupancy right now, so maybe we can do the, or if the city's inclined to amend the noise ordinance and change it in any way, maybe we can do that in conjunction with working with them on the certificate of occupancy. I mean,
That's what I'm saying.
would that be something? Because the concern I have is that right now there's an ordinance that you have, the city has, that if this specific business went forward, and it's only because there's been a complaint on file by the resident nearby, and it would violate your noise ordinance currently. Now, you're in a position right now where this business is just trying to move forward with their application, and we want business in the city. Absolutely, we want the business here in Rio Grande City, but we also want to comply with our ordinances. Maybe there's something that the city can do and tie in the certificate of occupancy to adhere to the noise ordinances at the time.
I'm very confident it's something we can do, because we've done
That's an option.
bigger projects than this before. And I would like to see it be put in the arena where the city needs to move and do something that we put everybody on task to be able to do this. But again, I emphasize one more time, the item that reads here is a wine and beer retailer's license proposed for a location, and that's all we have. I think we're sending the wrong message to future businesses if we don't give action, because the worst thing that can happen is do nothing, and we've already done nothing a couple of times. So I really need the commission to consider this and see where they want to go with this. I'm calling for a motion. I need some sort of movement. If you want to deny them, then give me a motion to deny, but let's give them closure, because it's getting to the point where this is getting a little silly that we're not wanting to budge. And this is not the government that I've worked with for years. We've done bigger projects than this, so I need a motion. If you want to deny the applicants, by all means, I'll entertain that motion as well. I just don't see a reason to do that, but at the end of the day, it's about the votes in this commission, and everybody does what they have to do in voting a certain way. So either I get a motion to accept the I already lost train of thought, your retail license, to give them the proposed license, or to deny the proposed license, and at that point it becomes the business owner's responsibility to see how he's going to come back at the city, and there's probably be some sort of a comeback, I'm sure, because everybody has a right to do business in an area that's been well known to do business at the same time that it has residential. But I need a motion by this commission some way or another.
This ordinance will 1 year?
I believe the applications for 1 year.
TBC issues licenses for 2 years.
If there's a violation, TABC, if they violate the license provisions, they will be suspended. They've done it for other businesses in Rio Grande.
Let me qualify that. TBC issues license for 2 years, the city's permit for 1, and the city's proposed for 1.
But our permit would still be for 1 year. Yes. So it would be for 1 year.
I need something from the commission, ladies, gentlemen, sir. If you want to deny it, go right ahead. I mean, at this point, it's either to accept it or deny it. So I'll take either motion either way. But I really don't want, I prefer not to see this on an agenda again.
It will be back. Guarantee. We're unprepared for it.
Well, we're prepared. So we've given multiple beer licenses in the same area within 500 feet of that location. And we're going to get another one, I'm sure, in the near future. And this is just a very, it's a growing thing, but we've always taken growing things head on, and I don't. But again, it has to do with the commission, what y'all want to do. If you want to accept them, fine. If you want to deny it, I'll entertain a motion to deny, and everybody votes as appropriate
question. If they meet all the requirements by law or by ordinance, can we legally deny them?
You have a noise ordinance right now.
That is not violated.
That's not right.
That's not violated, but you have a petition already on file on this issue. So you have no violation right now. The city's concern would be what happens once it opens up. And oftentimes what we've done through code enforcement, and we have done it in the past, Gilbert's here today, he can give you examples. We work with the owners to try and limit the hours so they adhere to the noise ordinance, or that owners, do special improvements so that the noise isn't loud, a certain level. And all that is done. And that's the concern. Now, I know there's other businesses on Main Street where, they have late hours, but we've never had a situation on Main Street here where a resident has filed a complaint with the city based on the noise ordinance. And if everything went forward based on what you're seeing before you today, there could very possibly be a violation of our noise ordinance. So oftentimes what cities do through their code enforcement department is work with the applicant to try and get into some agreements that you're not in violation of your nuisance or noise ordinance, and the business can still prosper. And we've done it before in the past. You can ask, your code enforcement officer.
See, an ordinance, some people will go their whole lifetime and never violate an ordinance. And a lot of businesses, most businesses do. They go a whole duration of existence without violating an ordinance, just the way a law-abiding citizen goes his whole life without getting a speeding ticket. But you cannot give somebody a driving license because you think they might get a speeding ticket.
And you're absolutely correct. I know exactly where both parties are coming from, and I know what Jack is saying, but the obvious thing is that nothing's been violated yet.
Nothing's been violated yet, you're correct. Now, to me, this is going to be a template for whatever comes because there's going to be more businesses coming in. We've been having this item for a month and a half now, which is longer than any other proposed beer license I've ever seen before. And we have circumstances where we've given licenses for people that sit up next to schools, but have an immaculate track record of working with TABC and working with us. I mean, case in point, Highway 83, okay, goes on one side, but right across the street you have Kramer. Not the only one either. You go over to high school, you have Dollar Store across the street, I think we gave them a license also. The level of responsibility of the business owner is what's paramount, and I'm going to assume that they're going to comply with ordinances rather than think they're going to violate them. I want to think that everybody's going to do what's law-abiding, but that's me, and that's why at this point we need to take it. And if the action is to deny the application, then fine. That way they can proceed with whatever action they're going to take to try to push this forward. But it's no longer an item on this agenda in this form. This requires action at this point. I need some sort of motion from this board. I mean,
In all fairness, Mayor, I think that, again, sympathize with all the parties involved, and again, at this point, the agenda reads, to grant the license. We are not, again, experiencing any type of violation. This is just to, again, to grant or not grant the beer license. They meet all the requirements, in all fairness to everybody. I'm making a motion that we approve the beer license.
Very good. I have a motion to approve by Commissioner Ramirez. Do I have a second?
And obviously, Mayor, no violations have occurred. I know that we're still waiting on an occupancy, and I believe that there were still some other issues that need to be addressed as far as R&Rs and stuff like that. And I think that we should move swiftly as far as our ordinances are concerned. And I'll second the motion at this time.
I'm going to say thank you, Commissioner Ramirez. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem West. I know you can tell it's very difficult for us. It's not easy sitting in these chairs making these decisions. We balanced everything. We have a downtown that was built in 1848, which is great because it gives us great tradition and roots. But then it gives us the challenges of having to balance what's coming and what's before. I mean, we have Wi-Fi in downtown now. It's given us a lot of great press. But the modern technology and life goes on, and we are going to tell you right now that I'm going to stick, and I want a draft of a noise ordinance by the next meeting. Is best. I want a noise ordinance that's workable, that's enforceable, and that we can measure by the next meeting. That's 30 days from now. And after that, I'm going to recommend to this commission, I'm going to be real clear that we're going to have a meeting for EDC next week. I'm going to recommend that we put money aside for parking lots. That goes back on, because we should have done it before, but something, we balance budget and we balance money. We need to build more parking lots in downtown. So that's another thing that I can tell you, and that will hit two very critical elements for our growth in downtown. So with that, I have a motion by Commissioner Ramirez. I have another second by Mayor Pro Tem Garza for this item to ratify this item, to accept this item. Now we'll go to a vote. All in favor, signify by going aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. That was an interesting item. Okay. Number 3, reconsider preliminary approval of plat of the Durango Estate subdivision. Ms. Bell, some information on Durango Estate subdivision.
Durango Estate subdivision, Mayor Commissioner, lies for La Carla Rodes on San
Oh, wow, yeah.
It is on our 5 mile ETJ.
This is big.
Yes, sir. There. I do want to make a correction on your memo. It's not 34 lots. After the discussion and review through planning, through the developer, and through the engineer, it's gone down to 30 lots, and this is in order to meet the fire code. Although we don't serve the area, but it's an area that we would, in the future annex, we definitely want it to be up to code. And therefore, it was reduced down to 30 lots. The water is served by a tanque, and there will be served with approved state septic tanks.
Okay, so everything's basically ready to go. What are the wishes in the commission on this? That's a meeting, I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Garza, a second? Second by Commissioner Jones. That's the way we do it. Okay. Any further discussion? If none, I will take a roll. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Under, excuse me. Contracts and agreements. Consider this agreement with Mario Ramiro Guerra for retail space at 405 East Mirasoles, Suite B. And I think Elisa has that information, and so does Marlene. I think we have tenants coming in. Okay.
Yes, sir. You have the memorandum of letter to you from Marlene. She is in charge of leasing the spaces. Mela Lucas Sales is looking at renting the space on 405 East Mirasoles, Suite D. That is a total of 278 square feet.
We have a template. Remember the template we used to have that identifies what's going to be charged where? Oh, here it is.
Yes, I do.
So it's a template that we're using now, and this conforms to that template, right? To that guide.
Yes, I mean, it's exactly what it says there.
What are the wishes from the commission? This is a lease agreement, so I have to go through it. What are the wishes from the commission? Thank you, Commissioner Ramirez. I have a second by Mayor Pro Tem Garza. Any further discussion? If none, I'm going to vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. B, another one. Consider lease agreement with Marco A. Rios for retail space 407 East Mirasoles, Suites A and B. Another one for the Ms. Bea, some information, please.
Yes, sir. This is a trucking company that needs some office space, and also half of the space will be used for the ladies' nail and beauty supply. They will not be doing any nails there, so it's just the supplies that will be sold from that space.
And we're using the guide again.
Yes, sir.
Any questions by the commission? Now take a motion. A motion by Commissioner Ramirez, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Garza. Any more discussion? If none, I will go to a vote. All in favor, signify by going aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Letter C, reads consider this agreement with the public utilities for office space at 405 East Mirasoles Street, Suites A, B, and C. Ms. Beas, explain to us why the water department is moving into our neighborhood.
Well, it's bring Maggie. Yeah, she could really explain it. She's an employee.
Basically, we're going to be redoing the old building, and they're going to be using this building. But are we going to use it for $1 or something, or doesn't it have to have a cash value some kind?
You want to charge?
Oh, they have to pay?
How about how about they waive the water? Yo lo que no nos cobran el agua de perdido.
Yeah, the building is in very bad shape. Over the number of years, Mr. Gantu has worked with building, trying to make it safe, and it's been just lately at, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, because of the alarm system, the front door pops because the building is shifting. And he keeps on shading part of it so it can close, but it keeps on popping open, which is not making it safe for any of the employees at all there. We have very poor drainage. I mean, you can actually fit your hand through some of the cracks. The ceiling, the suspended ceiling, if you go by, it's hanging. The insulation is falling out. Every morning you have to clean it up. Yeah. There's very serious concerns on the employees' part that we're not providing a safe environment for them to work.
And this is temporary now. Does it have to have a dollar figure for a lease? Or?
Yeah, $1. Even if it's just $1.
Okay.
Or $10 is what you need.
What about 500?
The rate is 70 cents. The rate is 70, was there in the, it's 70 cents a square foot is what it is. But
It already had the internet.
So at this point, you want to keep to the formula here?
So $1, or do you want to start with 70 cents a square?
Whatever the formula is, I'm going to recommend that way because they will go to agua cada rato.
yeah, the water keeps coming. The water keeps coming.
We pay water for this. Okay, this is the formula.
I'll draft an agreement then.
Okay, stick to the formula mentioned.
Ahí viene la misma cosa.
You're supposed to add all of those up because there's.
We'll add them up.
Yeah, I'll add them up.
But at this
Then
point.
have to get insurance as well there.
No.
They are already sure.
They're also receiving.
I need a motion to accept this item as per the formula that's indicated for the lease of the building. I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Garza. A second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. To make it clear, they're going to lease A, B, and C as per the formula that we've used consistently for that property. So that is I have a motion and a second. Right, Ms. Holly, a second?
Yes, you do.
Okay. Ready to go to a vote. All in favor, signify by going aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Letter D, this one I didn't need clarification. Consider lease agreement with RCISD for use of building 1, 2, 3, and additional areas for Ringo campus. Are we ready to go on this?
We do have a lease agreement that was provided by our city attorney. Initially, just so you know.
We're ready.
When did the school
They did not have a meeting, so they're waiting on this lease to be presented to their attorney so they can bring their.
so the lease includes 1, 2, 3, and additional areas?
Yes, which would be the pavilion, some of the playground equipment, the use of the gym, and the auditorium.
Should also include the parking lot adjacent to the south office, because people don't remember, but before that, I think 2 years before we got there, the city helped them pay that parking lot.
I think that was a stipulation in the original agreement.
Okay, then
I have to check it.
you know what, that's reiterated, but I know that when they built that, the time it was to be a building park, that it was paved for the city back in the 90s.
Last year.
Yeah, okay. So,
The intent there is to already have all these buildings because as our programs are growing, we will need more space, and instead of having to go back to the school, 2 buildings that they right now are not able to repair, we will take on these 3 buildings and repair them.
this is a wonderful EDC project because it's going to require a lot of building care because some of those buildings are not in the best of shape. It's just the way it is. But you know what, when we got this building, it wasn't in the best of shape either. So we know how to do something, we know how to restore and renovate old buildings. So, anyway, that's the item we have, ladies and gentlemen. What are the wishes of the commission? Do I have a motion? I have a motion by Mr. Ramirez, that's second. Second by Mayor Pro Tem Garza. Any more discussion? If none, I will entertain a vote. All in favor, signify by going aye, please. I'm sorry. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Letter number 5 is one item. Consider reduction of speed on Mirasol Street. This is a discussion item at this point. This is not an action item. Give us some latest update on this.
At the last meeting, y'all were presented with a petition, public forum from Ms. Marla Mendoza, because she narrowly escaped being hit by a vehicle.
And then we're gonna have more people with the water department being there.
So I know there was a discussion item where from Britain to Solo, we have residents, we have businesses, we have all obviously local government business going on, to reduce the speed. It is a very narrow street, anywhere from 16 to maybe in some areas 18 feet wide.
And people do park inside.
Yeah, everyone. And I know we looked at several ordinances on streets, and that is the exception. If the street is very narrow, you all do not, I don't know if you had a chance to look at it.
That's correct. Ms. Reyes is correct on that.
What?
That if the street is narrow, you can enforce and not allow people to park on the sides.
You know what, those families that live there
And
100 years ago.
reduce the speed, because normally it's 30 miles an hour in our regular subdivisions.
What are we recommending on speed
I
wise?
don't really have an action.
It's not access.
It was recommended between 20 and 25. I would say 20 because it's just so narrow.
I don't think, just anybody drives that road, you can't go, well, you can, but it's very dangerous if you do.
It is an action item, is it?
Consider, consider.
It allows you to take action.
Consider reduction.
Oh,
It's
because
an action item.
okay,
It's an action item that you would have to, it wasn't clear to me if you would need an ordinance.
And what is the city proposing?
What are the recommendations,
What
Mayor?
is the recommendation?
We're looking at 20. Already, you do have to go down to 20 because of people coming out of their parking or their driveways. There's an area here also like between Corpus Street and Washington, also in Britain.
I think that whole street eventually we're gonna have to really be a very slow speed limit.
I agree with that. 20 is fair, so
From
Okay,
Britain
I have
to
a-
Arizona.
I'd like to make a motion of, set that speed limit, change the speed limit to whatever it is now, I think it's 30 to 20.
Okay, I have Commissioner Ramirez that makes a motion to reduce the speed on Mirasoles Street from 30 to 20. And please, if we pass this, get word to Fernando to put signs immediately.
Is that Avenue to,
All of it.
Are we gonna need readings for this? Jim?
No, you already have authority under your ordinance
Okay.
to change any street
Uh,
within the city.
I have a motion by Commissioner Ramirez. Did I have a second? No. Second? Okay, second by Mayor Pro Tem Garza. Again, Elisa, get with Fernando, get with Fernando and tell him start working on signs that say 20 miles an hour. At this point, I'll go to a vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Number 6 is executive session. We have executive?
No, Mayor.
Okay. Before we adjourn, Mr. Ramirez, any announcements, football, when are we in the district? Volleyball also going on.
Volleyball cross country.
There you go, cross country, cross country. So we
I did say last time, wish all the teams the best of luck.
There you
this
go.
season, so.
There you go. Mayor Pro Tem Garza.
I just want to thank the public for putting up with us at the school. I know it was hectic, but well ran, and I want to thank the public for being very cooperative out there at the school around the school. And we need for them to be very cooperative with us. So far, we have had a lot of traffic, but everything is working out very well. And I hope that it continues that way.
Patience, patience, patience. I'm glad that the good news is, Mayor Pro Tem, there was no news. Aside from people complaining, but I mean, traffic, we all put up with traffic. It's just for about the first month, and after that, I think everybody will stabilize. So please I remind everybody, around school zones, no cell phones, right? No cell phones in school zones, no texting. Please stop. If it's an undivided highway, if the bus stop is undivided, I mean, that's what people not, it's undivided. If it's a divided highway, you don't stop. Even if it's wide, you're supposed to stop. So please stop for buses. I think, these are all our children now, so let's be very, very cautious around school zones. North Grammar, I drive by there when I go to the post office. Please drive slow. I know that there's a lot of movement, so please, folks, just keep that in mind that our kids are worth our extra effort. Anything else? No. Okay. Mr. Jones?
Other than, I was a little bit late for Taco Bell, but as the saying goes, better late than not getting there, so I can personally say that the Dorito tacos are excellent. I'm a big Taco Bell fanatic, so greatly welcome Taco Bell. Had a great ride to Edinburgh.
Okay. And to echo that, I think the communities embraced them because they're always quite full as far as their business is concerned. Some quick announcements. Let me just send some words, some well wishes, and some get well soon to Dr. Salinas. He has an injury that is going to keep him laid up a little while. So he had surgery yesterday. So Mr. Salinas, who should be sitting right there, our thoughts are with you, and hopefully he'll heal quickly and he'll be back with us in no time at all. The announcements that I have are going to be more about law enforcement. I do want to again commend the police department, Elisa Reyes under city administration, even Ms. Holly, and I'll tell you why, what I'm going to get to. Chief Reyes, he's also emergency coordinator. We've had a flurry of media come through here, USA Today, CBS Evening News. We had the Washington Post that just left. I'm not even talking about Channel 4, Channel 5. We had Fox, Telemundo. And I want to say the police department has done extraordinary in being able to guide them and show them what we live and what we see. When they leave here, I get messages from them constantly thanking us, not because we did anything special, except that we were very willing to work with them and show them our life and how we live and what we go through. And believe me, I never thought that was very special, but to the world out there, it's very special. So police department, Noe, and I know that Solis, and I think even Mikey, I think even Jay, several police officers have had experiences with reporters, and they've always come back with very positive things to say about our organization. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for everything you've done in the service to the Rurales. We appreciate it. Again, National Night Out. National Night Out is when?
October 7th.
October 7th. Marlene, announcements?
Well, the library is going to have their Grandparents' Day next Wednesday on the 3rd from 5 to 6. And then we also have our Keeping It Real Market Days on the 6th. And next week, well then we have a second round of Heritage Development Tourism, and you're all of course invited to that on the 8th and 9th. And those are going to be hosted here at the Lopez City Courtyard.
Marlene's doing a wonderful job on social media. I know everything that goes on now because I have social media. Mr. Ramirez on social media 2 months in a while. This is something I put up there. I know he notices it. So it's a good way to get information out. And people are noticing the fact that we're putting out about Wi-Fi. I think we're putting messages, we're putting about school safety. I think
Well,
today
we
you have
just purchased recently some stickers. They're going to be 6 by 6 inches, and they're going to go on each business saying that that's a free Wi-Fi zone, and they're going to go all over. Just so that people can know. I'm going to give them one for the inside and one for the outside of the business. And all throughout Main Street, 2nd Street, all throughout where we have the Wi-Fi.
The city has been invited to present at a panel for an international company that goes through all of Indonesia, India, Dubai. They bought our Wi-Fi project, and they've asked us to present at a panel in December in Dallas. So
we're going to present a small communities symposium, if you will, with this worldwide company on Wi-Fi. I know. And the reason I mentioned this, Holly, also, let me say, a while ago, she fields all the calls for media, and she always manages them to get in. And she says, Mayor, it's, at the beginning it was a little exciting. Now towards the end, it's like Mayor's Washington Post now. And she came on Sunday to open up the building, so I appreciate the fact that we do our part. I think I hit all my marks. Anything else? Anybody have any announcements? Anybody? If not, have a wonderful school year.
Labor Day is this weekend.
Labor Day is this weekend?
Yeah.
No.
Monday. We have Monday off.
Okay, wow. Well, good for you. Thank you all very much, and I don't have anything else. With that, I need a motion to adjourn. I have a motion by Mr. Ramirez, a second.